Welcome everybody to our second episode of the UR show with Melanie Wokurka, and we have a special guest today, Julia. And this show is a part of the World of Ability Podcast Network. And thanks to Marcus, Jay, and Zach for allowing us to have it on their platform. So I'm going to Melanie to get us started.
Perfect. Thank you, Emily. Well, welcome everybody to the show today. I'm super excited to be here. For those of you who don't know, I'm a happy girl. I'm a brand partner with Amari Global. We are a mental wellness company. And today I have on my friend Julia. I brought Julia here today because her story is really, really interesting. And what she does is, Amari is a lot about brain health. And Julia is very much so about the grief and connecting grief with the brain. Am I saying this right, Julia? Connecting, which we don't always realize that sometimes grief shuts our body down in ways that we don't want it to be, and we need to open it up. So I'm asking Julia a question and get this started. So Julia, what did attract you to Amari?
First of all, it's just about, somebody says the word happy and I'm like, squirrel. I just want to know how to stay happy, get happy, stay happy. And then you started talking about the brain, which even more piqued my interest because I'm going to back up a little bit because in March of 2016, I joined the Maxwell leadership team. And I'm sitting in the room and somebody says, everybody has a story. And I'm thinking, I don't have a story. My life's been pretty even keel, get married, have kids, no biggie. Well, that was for about 9 months because apparently I needed a story. About 9 months after I joined the team, I had a stroke. And I had to learn to walk again, talk again, eat again, read again, and write again. And, at that point, I was just like, I want a healthy brain, but I didn't know anything about how to get a healthy brain. And about 2 years after my stroke, I met a gentleman named Dr. Daniel Amen of Amen Clinics. And he was talking about brain health and how to have a healthy brain. And he was in the room of the John Maxwell conference. And I just started crying because I was like, I want this. And so I started going to Amen University and taking the classes and learning about my brain and getting a healthier brain. Fast forward, I decided that if I kept all that information to myself, I was the most selfish person in the world. And so then I started putting it out there. This is what I was doing. I met you, Melanie, and she's talking about Amari, and I'm thinking, okay, so because Dr. Amen has, supplements, but not all of them, and Amari doesn't have all of them yet. But, there's stuff like alpha GPC, which helps your brain. It's like a brain support, brain food. So I'm thinking if I can have brain food from Amari and I can have brain food over here, do your research because I did mine. Is it going to make it happen faster? I don't know, but I'm willing to try it. And so when you started telling me about Amari and what it could do for my night sweats, because I am that age, I was just like, please give me. And it has helped immensely. So I'm doing, 2 or 3 things, and I watch what products are in things, and I just got really excited. And that's what drew me to it. It's just the fact that it was going to help me get healthier. And you talked about brain.
Yeah, you talked about Ignite. And Ignite took away my hot flashes. And at Christmas, I stopped taking it. Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. I'll cut down on the budget. Oh, no, they came back. They came back worse. So, yes, Ignite is amazing.
Yes.
Ignite is absolutely amazing. So, let's talk a little bit about your business then, because it really does tie in. Because we mentioned grief before, and now you became a grief counselor, correct?
I help people go through the grief process without reliving the pain of the past. So whether you've lost a job, a relationship, a loved one, a pet, a limb, your health, whatever that is, it's a loss. I helped a lady the other day who her mom had died 3 years ago, but then 6 months later, her dad starts dating someone half his age and 15 years younger than she is. And she felt like she'd lost her dad because he had changed so much. And so I helped her go through not the loss of him as far as the passing, but remember those good times. Remember the things that made her want to call him dad. And they have a beautiful relationship again. One lady had just lost herself. You know, sometimes when we have a loss of a relationship or something go on in our life tragic, we lose ourselves and who we are. So we went through and helped her find herself again. And I'm telling you, the posts that she's making on Facebook now are amazing. And she's come alive again.
So we've seen a huge increase in this with COVID, correct? And something that you know that I speak out strongly about is suicide. You know, getting help before that commits. That's where this and Amari work really well together, because sometimes you can't even get open communication to talk to somebody like you until you balance the brain and the gut out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it opens up communication where they might be able to ask for help. They might be able to reach out to you. Your sessions might be more plentiful. Your sessions might be, amazing, where before you weren't able to even communicate with them or get through that barrier,
Right.
because there was such a block.
Right.
So talk a little bit, I guess, about that block that sometimes happens.
Right. So one of the things, real quick, the reason why I decided to do the loss is 14 months ago, my son had a heart attack and died like that. He was 34 years old. And this process helped me. I feel like I'm more like 5 years out than I am 1. And some people are like, well, don't you miss him? I'm like, yeah, I miss him every day, all the time. But I don't live with the trying to relive it and change it, the what if or the why. They're gone. I cherish the memories that I do have. I cherish the things that we do that make me laugh. And yeah, I have my moments when there's a trigger or something, but also because of this program, I have an anchor that I can go back to, and my subconscious brain will go back to that exact moment in that room and all the goodness that he brought into my life and how happy I am to be able to call him my son. Because whether he's here or he's gone, he is my son. And so that is the reason why I chose to do the grief. But yes, the gut brain, when it comes to there being a loss, when it comes to there being Alzheimer's or dementia or autism or anything going on that's in your brain, it affects your gut. And so if you clean both and you get that flow going, Get that flow.
The
Yeah.
happy flow.
Happy flow. You get the flow going, but you also, your brain will regrow. You're not stuck with the brain you have today. So if you're having brain fog or you're having all this other stuff go on, call me. Reach out. Or reach out to Melanie. She knows how to get a hold of me, and we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta start somewhere. And even if you're one of those people that are listening to this and you think, I don't have the money to do everything, one thing, one step at a time.
Yeah.
But you gotta start. Even if you're starting by drinking nothing but water. The brain is 80% water.
Mm-hmm.
Water and fat.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what it's made up of. So if you've had like a traumatic brain injury, the way I like to say it is your brain is a coconut shell, okay? Or your brain is surrounded by a coconut shell. And the brain itself is jello, okay? And if you've done this inside, you've got dents in your jello. So you got dents in your brain. You got holes in your brain. If I showed you some of the pictures of somebody that was for 5 years a weekend drinker, you'd be like, wow, no wonder they have brain fog. No wonder they have this issue or that issue. And all I'm saying is you're not stuck there. There are things, there's Amari, there's things that Amari doesn't have yet that I have access to that I can help you with. I will say everything I say. I'm not a doctor, but I will help you and be your advocate for the questions you need to ask your doctor. I will make a list of those questions.
Yeah. And I guess a big thing too that people don't realize is you're also there through triggers. Because triggers can set you back tenfold. All of a sudden you're making so much progress, and we'll use the veterans, I guess PTSD for instance. A car backfires and you're back in the you're back to where you're in the war zone, and your whole brain goes back to where it was. So don't be scared when there's a trigger. You're not at fault. There's not something wrong with you, as they used to say. There's something wrong with you. So I guess you can let's go on the tangent, not tangent, but wrong with you. Because it is, but it isn't, right?
Right.
Because when we come from the generation of, if you reach out to somebody for help, whether it be physical, mental help, whatever, there's something wrong with you. I just went through this with my 16-year-old son, and we went rounds and rounds and rounds because he thinks that reaching out to somebody makes him seem weak.
Yeah.
Makes him see less of a person. Makes him look in other people's eyes.
Well, listen to this. Okay. My son passed away. Wouldn't you rather me get help dealing with that? Then that is literally nobody's fault. Definitely not mine. Other than maybe you want to blame me because he had half my genetics. But nobody's going to blame me. I blamed me for a long time. Until I said no more.
Yeah, because you always want to blame something.
Yeah.
That's just like human nature. You always want to blame something.
But the thing is do I want to be weak and go get help? Or do I not care and want to be better? I don't care if there are people out there that see me as weak. I want to be better.
Right.
there are people out there, and I know a lot of them and love a lot of them, that have PTSD. And I would say to them, is you are more loved than you know.
It's true.
You're more accepted than you know. Just because you choose not to love and accept yourself because what happened to you, or what you went through, doesn't mean the whole world feels that way.
And PTSD is not just veterans either.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a big myth when we were younger as well, that PTSD was just for veterans. So do you want to explain on that just a little bit? Because I think that's another topic that, especially our generation, needs to kind of realize. I think the younger generation understands that a little more, but our generation, PTSD was just for military.
Right. Or when something bad happens. My son, believe it or not, he passed away back in 2003. Was out riding his bike and was hit by a car. And was lifelined to the hospital. And I could hear ambulances 5 miles, I swear, before anybody else could. I'm like, there's
afterwards.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, there's an ambulance coming, and I just start shaking. He could be in the car with me, and I'd start shaking. And they're like, why? Totally PTSD. I'm like, they're like, Mom, there's no ambulance. I go, we're going to sit right here because I promise there's one on its way this way direction. Well, yeah, Mom, if you sit here long enough, there will be. I'm like, no, I can tell you, it's like this far away. And then I tell them how far. And then I go, they're coming around that corner.
Crazy.
And about the time they'd see it. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, I think part of PTSD is a heightened awareness because we're on standby, we're on guard for that to happen again. And so when there's fireworks because of military or whatever you want to call it, or I know a person has PTSD because their dog was hit by a car.
Well, my daughter had it because she was bullied really bad in 4th and in 7th grade. And freshman in high school, she went to new high school, and it was triggered by somebody where I had to pick her up in the nurse's office because she was shaking back and forth. Literally couldn't see the hand in front of her eyes. I couldn't even get her out of that phase because I was going to the office to try to talk with her to put her back into school so she wouldn't retreat, so she wouldn't go to fight and flight. But for me to be there for her, and I had to take her home. She couldn't even see the hand in front of her face. I couldn't pop her out of it, nothing. And it was triggered just like that. And she was shaking. She just kept saying, I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through that again. Freshman in high school. Mm-hmm.
So it could be anything. And I mean, whether it's me, whether it's you, or just reach out.
But can it also show up in anger?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
If you're angry all the time.
If we stuff it down within us, it's going to come out. Even though we keep stuffing it. It's going to come out toward usually the people we love the most.
Yeah.
And love us the most. And are the closest to.
Do they always know that they are directing anger towards us? Are they aware of it sometimes?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Because I don't think, a lot of times they don't even realize they're angry. And so then something will be said or something will be done. If you wait until they're out of that anger phase and you have caught it like recording and you can play it back to them or be like, this is what you said. I know you didn't mean it, but it hurt. Because it'll still hurt. then sometimes you can help them. But a lot of times they don't even realize it and they don't know it. That's one of the reasons why we need a healthy brain, because when we help get the brain and gut and all of it working together and get the brain healthier and back to quote unquote normal. One of the reasons why I can say we need a healthy brain is 2 years after my stroke, I had a scan of my brain. I had a 35-year-old healthy brain. At that point, I was 53 and I had a 35-year-old healthy brain.
That's awesome.
And so you can do it. I mean, yes, it takes work. But I'll tell you, after you've spent a month or two drinking nothing but water, you don't want anything else.
Unless it's happy juice.
Oh, happy juice.
I had to throw that in there.
I love it. But you know what I mean? You don't miss it. You miss it because it's that sugar addiction.
Yeah. Well, sugar is more addictive than cocaine, according to the scans on the brain. So it makes sense. And if you don't believe us, Google it, because you can actually Google, side by side, and they'll pop up side by side scans of sugar and cocaine and how addicting, that is. And my opinion is you don't want something that changes the chemistry of the brain. You want something that opens up communication in the brain, like giving brain food is basically what you want. You want to give the brain more food. What are you doing? You're checking something in.
I was looking up the SPECT scans. Keep going.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. When I was with another company, they brought that up, and my mind was actually blown with that information, because when I came off sugar, I was sugar addicted and bad. And my husband brought me the wrong sandwich one time, and I was coming off sugar at the time, and I threw a baby bottle at him, and he ducked. And I'm like, I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was so intense.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Sugar does crazy things.
And not that you can't every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. You can indulge every once in a while. Just be careful. As I talk to Miss Vanilla Oreo over here. I'm waiting for your response. Your vanilla Oreo.
Vanilla Oreo. It wasn't vanilla, it was lemon.
Okay, lemon Oreo.
Okay. So I'm going to show you a SPECT image. So this is Alzheimer's type of dementia, and this is regular depression. See the difference? And then completely smooth is a normal brain.
But that's not completely smooth, yeah.
But it's not completely smooth.
Yeah.
And so I have about a 95% success rate as far as having you fill out information on yourself, and then having someone close to you fill out information on you, and really walking you through what's going on in your brain, what part's working right, what part isn't working right, what's overworking, what's underworking, what's getting too much blood or not enough blood. And we don't think of too much blood as a bad thing, but it can be in the brain.
It's very finicky.
Yes.
It's very picky.
Absolutely.
It likes that's the way it is.
Right. So, and then we sit there and we look at the brain and we're thinking, how can I know? And trust me, when your brain's working right, you'll know. Because you'll feel it. Because you'll be able.
You do.
To get those things done.
And it's like you can think through the fog, think through the stress, think through the moments that hit you. You just think a little easier.
Yes.
You know.
I have a friend right now that's suffering through some brain fog, and sometimes doesn't even remember their name.
Yeah, been there. Mm-hmm.
And so that's not just kind of scary. That is scary.
Yep. Should recommend Happy Juice. Seriously. So I'm going to bring up one more thing, because you don't just you not only had a stroke. You not only had the loss of your son, you've actually had more trauma in your life and had to work through even more. So we have about 4 more minutes. Tell me about that.
So March the 12th of 2021, which is coming up on 2 years, I was beaten and strangled and left for dead. And I can tell you that if I didn't, my healthy brain was prior to that. Okay. If I didn't have a brain that was ready for that, I don't think I'd be here. And so it's more than just getting your brain healthy. And no, we're not going to sit here and get it healthy to be attacked. But crap happens.
Yep. Car accidents can happen. Anything.
Car wrecks happen. I could tell you a whole list of things that happened. Let's just say in the early 1999 and 2000, I was on the fire department. I've seen some crazy stuff, some crazy wrecks, some that people walk away from, and some that people are in a coma for 3 or 4 months and come out, but they're never the same.
Right. But I guess what you're also trying to say, if your brain has the ability to heal quicker, so is your body.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So if you get it healthy before stuff happens, your body will have the ability to heal quicker.
Yes.
It also, not only with your gut, but it heals your heart as well. And they're finding it's linked to hormones and weight loss as well.
Yeah. So, and all the COVID that's going around, right? First of all, I will tell you that I've never been diagnosed with COVID. I'll put it that way. I had one time that I was like, maybe, but I still don't know. But it wasn't bad enough to go even be checked, if it was. So what I'm saying is, if your brain is ready and you are taking stuff to keep your immune system up, and you're taking stuff to keep your brain healthy, I never quit going anywhere. March, April, May, when it was the worst of 2021, we weren't, or 2020, whatever that was, 2020, and we weren't supposed to go anywhere. I was traveling. Okay, I couldn't leave the States, but I was traveling.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. I never stopped.
And I was on the opposite end. I had COVID. I had immense brain fog from it. It took me months to recover, and I was on a whole food nutrition diet. So yeah, it hit me. It hit me hard. So I was on the opposite end of that. Mm-hmm. And it was something else. So Julia, we might have to keep this discussion going later, because It is time. So is there anything in closing that you'd like to say?
If not from me, make sure you know the health of your brain. Make sure you're ready for whatever's coming and whatever storms that life is going to bring you. And don't give up. You are worth it, and the world needs your story because you're still here.
And how can people find you?
The easiest way right now is Julia at Elite Leadership GRP wellbeing.com. Just send me a message. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook, Julia Vaughn.
And if you can't remember that, you can always contact me at youarehappygirl.com. And if you want to learn more about Amari, you can go to youarehappygirl.com as well. My links are on there, and I can definitely put you in touch with Julia as well. So, Julia, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being on here. God really blessed me when He put you in my life, and I am so thankful. I'm so thankful. All right. Well, you have a good day. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next Monday.
You too. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Good job, Julia. Oh, we're still on live YouTube.